Hey everybody. Today I want to talk about a topic that I find very strange, and it is something that's going on in the indie environment, indie games. And it is that Silksong makes several indie developers upset. First, we had when they announced the price that was going to be $20. There is this IGN article that you have here where they were talking about the price that was going to affect their games. When I saw that, I didn't understand what was the problem, and apparently is because the developers didn't think that their game will measure to Silksong. So if Silksong was $20, their game should be less. That is a weird thing to say, that you're announcing to the world that your game is not that great, it's not as good as Silksong, so then now you need to rethink what you charge your game. That was very strange, but what prompted me to make this video was something that I just saw recently, which is related to the gameplay that you're seeing on screen, which is Hell Is Us. Now, I played the Hell Is Us demo a little bit ago. I thought it was okay. It's not my type of game by any measure, but as a game, I thought it was fine. I think the fact that they don't hold your hand and tell you exactly where everything is with a marker, kind of like Ubisoft does, I think it's a great thing. It's very cool when developers let you explore. And the combat mechanics were fine, nothing, super impressive. Now, fast forward to yesterday, as of the recording of this video, and apparently the director Jacques Bellet, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, he's the director of Rouge Factor, which is the people who made Hell Is Us. He went into an interview and said that when you're that big, I think a shadow drop is a bit like, wow. But then it keeps going and says he went to call Hollow Knight Silksong the GTA 6 of indie games, which, yeah, there was a lot of hype behind the game, and reiterated his opinion that to shadow drop something like this is a little callous. Why is this callous? First of all, these two games aren't even in the same ballpark. One game is a Metroidvania 2D platformer. The other game is a 3D game, action RPG-ish, with a lot of exploration. So I think it's two different audiences. Some people have argued like, well, Hell Is Us has Souls-like combat, therefore it can be compared to Hollow Knight, because Hollow Knight is the Dark Souls of Metroidvania games, which I think that's a little bit of pulling hairs. Yes, Hollow Knight is very difficult, and you have to time, and this is from what I heard, I haven't played Hollow Knight. From what I've heard, you have to time the boss encounters and all that, just like you would do in Dark Souls, but it's a total different game than Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a 3D game. You have 3 axes of movement, the way that you time and then you analyze and strategize, play with the enemies, it's totally different than you would do in Hollow Knight. The graphics are totally different. Now, somebody argued with me on Twitter and said that if somebody only had money for one game that month, then they were going to go for Silksong over Hell Is Us. And that is a good argument. I can understand that argument. But the issue is that is looking at video games as if they were movies. Like, movies, they're only a certain amount of time in the cinema, which is where they make their most of their money. Video games are on Steam forever, I think. I mean, for as long as the developer keeps it on Steam. A video game doesn't just make money on the first week. In fact, I've seen video games that didn't do well when they got out, and all of a sudden they got a burst because some streamer happened to be streaming that game, and then they got a lot of customers like way after release. I've seen that happen with several indie games. So that is why I don't understand these announcements saying that somehow Hollow Knight was, or not that wasn't allowed, but that shouldn't have done a shadow drop and that it damaged the sales of other games. My argument is that even if Hell Is Us didn't launch next to Hollow Knight, it would have done not that much better. Maybe it would have sold a little bit more because of the argument that I've already, that somebody else presented and that I agree with. But I don't think it would have done that much better because it's an okay game, and that's not bad. Not every game needs to be a hit. Not every game needs to be a blockbuster that you need to be hooked and be playing for hundreds and hundreds of hours. Sometimes there is room for those games where you just play them for a little bit and that's it. Which is, and I have a lot of those games in my library. I'm pretty sure you watching this video or listening to it also have this. Not every game needs to be a blockbuster. That's what I'm saying. Just the same as like there are B movies and there are blockbusters. Well, it's the same with video games. They made a video game that is interesting, and I'm pretty sure the people that like the soul-like combat will get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Again, it's not my thing, but I understand how there can be an audience for this. However, the game is not like groundbreaking on certain aspects. Like the graphics are your generic Unreal Engine graphics. Environment is mega scans. Of course, they do have custom assets. Their character is completely custom. Their character is pretty good. It's a pretty cool character. If you want me to do a dissected video, just let me know in the comment section down below, because I do have the models of those. And from what it looks like, from what I've seen in the Steam charts, this is a small game. This isn't like a big AAA that needed to sell gangbusters to make money. And I think they've announced that they're happy with the way that the game has done. And one interesting thing that I must say, if you're interested in this game, for the time that I tested it, I didn't have any problems. This may be one of the fewer games of this year that runs in Unreal Engine 5 that actually runs well. If you like the soul-like combat, you're probably going to have a good time with this game. And performance-wise, I think it is good. It didn't have any hitches, at least on my machine. I didn't see any hitches. I don't have the equipment or the software that Digital Foundry uses. I felt that the game was running fine. The effects are very good. So I think it's weird for developers. If there are indie developers listening to me, let me know what you think about this subject. Do you think releasing next to a game that's bigger than you is gonna damage your game? Because to me, that's a little bit of an insecure factor on your part. You don't believe in your game as much if you think a game that is bigger than yours is going to hammer your sales. But yeah, let me know what you think on this subject. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And this doesn't only happen to indie developers. A lot of AAA developers are scared shitless of releasing next to GTA 6. I don't think there is, at least up at the recording of this video, I don't think there's a release date for GTA 6, but I'm pretty sure PR departments are crapping their pants of the thought that they will have to release next to GTA, which I think, again, if you're not producing that same game, you shouldn't be scared. I think that is a weird thought, and that is just telling the world that your game is less of a game than that other game. So yeah, let me know what you think about this subject in the comments down below. You know, I always like to have conversations. And by the way, also let me know what you think of videos like this. The dissected videos take a while to make, so I figure I give you my thoughts on what's going on in video games in between those. So yeah, let me know what you think about this type of video. Thank you so much for watching all the way till this point. Remember to like and subscribe. The Talk with Wildlogs about TIA is coming, so make sure you ring the bell for notifications. Again, thank you so much for watching all the way to this point, and I'll see you in the next one.